Cora, if you tell me this is a practical joke, well, it kills me to say it, but I would be really impressed.
Impressing you, Cade, is the easiest thing I'll do all day.
So Destiny 2 has been announced, and the first gameplay reveal has taken place, and we thought it would be cool if we just sat for a while and spoke about the gameplay in general. I was quite surprised that Bungie didn't do one of their cases of, oh, we have this feature but we can't show it. I mean, that was quite a big surprise, don't you think?
Yes. They were quite transparent about everything. Of course, they didn't show the strikes or the new Crucible mode, but they said that they will be playable at the event, so footage of that will be probably coming out soon.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't like, here's a social feature like the new clan feature, but we can't show you now, or here's a new social hub, which they showed the farm, which is like the Earth's social hub, and they weren't like, oh, but we can't show you this. I mean, that's something that we've had issues with in the past, so I was quite surprised that they actually showed as much gameplay as they did. The first mission's called Homecoming, and it shows the invasion of the Cabal on Earth, sort of thing. So what do you think about the new weapons?
Well, immediately, as soon as the gameplay starts, you can see the new weapon type, presumably some sort of submachine gun.
I don't know, it kind of got like a green ammo thing to it. I don't know what. It's got like a green chamber. I don't know if that's like maybe an energy gun. I mean, does it look like an energy gun?
It does. I think it could be related to Omolon weapons. If you know Omolon weapons, you know that they shoot liquid of different colors. Could be something like an Omolon weapon. I don't see any like logos on it or whatever, or from what I can see, I couldn't see any. But it definitely seems to be some sort of energy gun.
So one thing is clear is that the game looks so much better. I think, no offense to PS3 and Xbox 360, but it was kind of holding the engine back a bit. You can see there's huge visual enhancements taking place here. There's rain, there's reflections, there's all sorts of ambient lighting. I mean, it looks amazing. I mean, you can see it for yourself.
Definitely. The game looks a lot better. Small textures included. I do agree it was being held back. There was a lot more potential. I'm glad to see that they've made such a vast improvement to the visuals of the game.
I mean, look how beautiful that rain looks falling in front of the gun with the lighting. It's just amazing.
Simple things. So another thing I noticed right off the bat as soon as it started, besides the new gun type, is we have a new like display bar HUD at the bottom. So
yeah, the UI looks awesome, hey?
Yes, so we'll have our super like usual.
I think that's that big bar that travels on top of your ammo and abilities. Right. I think that's it. And then when that bar reaches full, then that icon shows on the left hand side, and then your super's ready. I mean, what do you think about the new supers? I mean, we saw the Warlock's got like a sword now. The Titan's got a shield. And the Hunter's got a staff, I think.
Yeah. I think the supers are like a huge move away from what we had in Destiny 1, which I think is great. We still kept the basic elements, like there's still the Solar, Void, and Arc, which we saw that each class has them. But I definitely like what they've done, like the versatility of it. We'll have to see when we see full skill trees how the classes are going to break down.
Can I just say that all of the supers are basically where you summon a weapon or a shield and you keep that for a certain while. In the first one we had the Nova Bomb, which was an instant thing. You know, you use your super, then it's done. And then we had the Titan Bubble, which was kind of a lingering effect. But then all of the supers in Destiny 2 kind of seem like the objects that they summon in battle, and then they use them until it's finished. Yeah. So I think there's a sort of like a pattern here since Rise of Iron, because the Rise of Iron had the same thing. So I think they're going to keep that way. But it has been confirmed that there are subclasses to each character. So what we saw in the gameplay is just their first subclass.
Right. Another thing which was noticeable in the gameplay and on the HUD was some sort of new ability that's added to each Guardian. When we were watching the first mission, we see them put down a healing pool and an empowerment pool. So presumably for healing and then some sort of damage buff.
So was this all the Guardians, or was it only the Warlock right now?
It was the Warlock right now. We didn't get to see any other class do it, but presumably they won't be favoring like that.
But we do see that we kind of see a grenade, a melee, and then there's a third action bar on the UI that's got something else. So that could have been the third ability.
That it definitely is. It definitely is, because when they use it, it does drain on the bar. It has to reset its cooldown. We just don't know what it could be for other classes. It could be similar healing or empowerment items. We'll have to see. I really like the inclusion of this. It gives it more of a diverse feel. You know, you can build your class to what you want. If you want healing or damage, that's really good. I like it.
And then the weapons. So the first thing, like, we screamed across the room about is elemental primaries, because I mean that was taken out and then brought back near the end of the original Destiny in the Age of Triumph, when they released the old Razor's new ones. So I mean, immediately we noticed that he was using a machine gun, or was a pulse rifle that's an elemental.
Yes,
It's a void. I mean, even all the weapons in general. I mean, there's a grenade launcher. I mean, it's so epic. But I mean, then again, is that sort of like an exotic? Is that an exotic weapon, or is it a class? You know, is it a new type of weapon? We don't know right now.
Well, we'll have to see when we get more info on the game. But from what they had said, we're going to get a kinetic weapon, a power weapon, and then an energy weapon, I believe. So I think the elemental gun that we saw that functioned like a pulse rifle but had an element on it is one of the energy weapons that we'll have to equip.
So you'll have primary weapons. Will there be? I mean, what's the chance of them being elemental?
I think they're going to move away from that. I don't think Bungie liked that idea. They were very hesitant in bringing it back in the Age of Triumph, as we know. I think the elemental is definitely going to be sticking to the energy and the power weapons. I don't think they'll make the same mistake twice with primary elementals.
And then we have that minigun. That's also pretty cool. I think that's an exotic weapon by the looks of it. But I mean, then again, we don't know until there's confirmation of that. So one of the major changes that they've done now is that instead of a 6v6 competitive mode like we've been playing since day one, I suppose, they've now made it a 4v4. So it's basically four players, and that will be across all modes except for Trials of Osiris.
Well, we don't know if Trials will be affected by this change yet. With them, it possibly could be. Towards the end of the Destiny cycle, we saw a lot of sweat communities engaging in 4v4s. That was like the niche number that people decided on for competitive play. So I like the idea that they're going for now. Reducing team sizes would make it easier to find matches as well. I think it's a step in the right direction.
Talking about finding matches, how epic is the new guarded games?
I think it's great. Just an explanation on it. It's basically a way for any solo player to team up with clans and other teams that have already been created and play any activity in the game together.
So it's basically, I mean, I play World of Warcraft, so in World of Warcraft, I'm a complete noob and I've got no friends. So when I want to play it, I go into an activity finder and I kind of like, I'm looking to do this mission now, or this quest now, or this raid now. And then there's a bunch of people also trying to look for this sort of activity, and then it matches us together and we do it. There are disadvantages to it, because I mean, sometimes the chances of you getting a team of like awesome people to get it done is very high. I mean, is very low. But it's something that Destiny needed, because so many people haven't done the raid, and so many people aren't part of clans, and so many people don't have friends that play Destiny. So I think it's definitely a must for the game.
Right. I think it's a very good introduction. Like you said, there are some negative sides, possibility of getting bad teams, or that one person being bad and bringing down the rest of the team. It does happen in other games. Hopefully we see in Destiny activities, we see more of a divergence away from team focus. In Destiny 1, it was very hard to complete activities, or sometimes impossible, like thinking of
you talking about like raid mechanics.
Yes, sometimes it was impossible to complete activities if one of your players was lacking or unable to do certain things. So if Destiny 2 is able to make raids and activities that that single players can basically carry a team, then I think the introduction of the match or the activity finder is great. I think it's definitely well needed.
But I think they've also taken a new kind of like larger MMO route with clans, because I mean clans in a typical MMO are free for everybody to join, and you can search for clans in the game itself. Destiny was very different, where you had to find people with the clan, go online, and then ask requests to join the clan. So I think they've done something very different here, and it kind of reminds me of the Elder Scrolls Online, where you get these guild people that you can just join at any time. So I think they've done the very same thing. So hopefully this means that there will be less clans but with more people. And then you can like join, have WhatsApp groups, and you can join Facebook groups and whatever. So it becomes more social, and I do see this exploding more. Because their focus on clans and making them more expansive is bigger than ever.
I definitely agree. The introduction of clans is also going to help keep the game alive. The more people that are able to do end-game content, the longer they are going to be playing. If they can't find groups to play or people to play with, they're just going to stop playing. They don't want to try like play by themselves all the time, I think it's definitely going to help with the lifespan of the game. The way the clans are going to work seems to be it's a very good concept. I like how you can play with any clan. You just need to go look through the clan, select who you want to play with. I think it's a good concept. I like where they're going with it.
So by the looks of it, there's no more Venus and there's no more old school Destiny planets except for Earth, and Earth's now moved to this European sort of setting, which looks pretty cool. One thing that we noticed is that the world maps are huge, and you can now go. There's no orbit. Like orbit seems like something that you do when you're changing planets. No, when you're changing activities or what. I mean, there's the social hubs are in the game, in the world that you're in now. There's a farm in Earth, and that's all we saw right now. But we take it that each planet's going to have their own social hub. But they push quite heavily on the fact that you don't have to go to orbit to change locations. I mean, how much time will this save?
I think it will be good. From what I heard them say and what I believe, orbit's going to be a redundant thing now. You will never have to go back to orbit. You can just change activities through your ghost. That's what we saw in the trailer. You can just change it in the ghost. It will be good. The planet situation, the map sizes, they're definitely taking a more MMO approach to Destiny. The maps are huge.
And the activities as well inside. I mean, they showed off so many activities in every nook and cranny of it.
Right. There was a lot of things that could be done. Like, it's optional. You can go do it. You don't need to do it. Adventures, like sort of bounties, public events, many things that we can do in these larger spaces that they've created.
So lastly, we just want to touch on the story, because Bungie have put a big focus on it this time. And not to say that they didn't in the first Destiny, but I mean, we've all played the first Destiny, and we know how I think there was a hidden miss there with the story a little bit. So Destiny 2 follows the story of, what's his name?
Gary.
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 Okay, they call him Gary. So Gary's now, he was raised to believe that the Traveler is his, and he owns the light of the Traveler. So he travels to Earth, he destroys the tower and all your guns that you've collected in your entire 3 months of game time playing the original Destiny. And he basically, like, by him taking over the light, all the guardians lose their powers, sort of thing.
Right.
So basically you just have to fight the Red Legion and hopefully take him down in the raid, which we know nothing about right now.
Hopefully. They might even keep him maybe for an expansion, or maybe drop us with something else in the first raid. Maybe they want to keep that story going.
Rip Crota.
We'll never forget Crota.
I know, but I'm sure the Hive will be back. I mean, we know the game's got Vex because we travel to a Vex world. Io is a Vex world.
Yes.
And apparently this world's been completely taken over by Vex, that it's become a machine. So we know the Vex is in the game, but there's no sign of... Oh no, there was. I saw Thrall.
Yes.
There were Thrall.
There was definitely Hive presence.
Yeah.
I think we saw every race. I'm pretty sure we saw.
So I mean, the
every
chances of future expansions, which you get expansion passes if you buy the deluxe edition and the collector's edition of the game, by the way, I think there's a chance of going back to those species. I mean, those, I don't know what to call them, but I mean, I don't really care about them right now because the Cabal were left in the dark in the original Destiny for 3 years. So let them have their time to shine now. I don't really want to go and do Hive activities because I feel like we need to give the Cabal their spotlight.
Right. I think the Cabal definitely needs some time to shine. I'm happy that they're focusing
And they've come
on the
back
Cabal.
angry now, I think.
They have.
They're kind of pissed. They're kind of like 3 years of like, I think we had like 2 strikes throughout the entire Cabal. I mean, that was like the Cabal scene, was that the one strike where you fought the 2 brothers, and then the commander strike. I mean, I think
original.
I think there was like 2 strikes, and that's basically their showing in the game.
And we have been neglecting them. We need something on the Cabal. I mean, even lore-wise, we're falling behind on Cabal. There is some around the game, but there's not much that we can work off to work things out now. I'm really glad of this introduction. I'm super happy to see it. I'm super like psyched to get to the raid when it eventually comes out. It's probably going to drop like a month after Destiny release. Super happy to use the activity finder to probably do the raid. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, I think everything about the game just looks like it looks completely different. It looks so much better. I mean, we had like a sneak peek at the menu system as well, showing like where you equip your guns and stuff, and it looked super sleek, super awesome, and everything looked like it loaded really well, even though it was probably pre-rendered. It just seems like they've put a lot of attention to detail. It kind of like feels like they, in a way, the Cabal are destroying the tower, but Bungie's destroyed Destiny, the original one. They kind of like rebuilt from the ground up, and they keep going on about it's a fresh start and it's a new beginning for everybody who's never played Destiny before. So in a way, I think it's going to be pretty cool.